Hi, Phil here with another food testing video, and here. We are here with Pepsi, a new variation of Pepsi, I might add. What have we here? For one, it's blue. Yeah, like you can even see the colorization. Look at the angle over there. Look at it's coming out blue as a blue light. It's electric blue, zesty citrus, zero sugar, electric blue Pepsi. Interesting. Is it any relation to Crystal Pepsi, that clear version of Pepsi? That kind of seems like it's just a pointless gimmick. I mean, the only good thing you'd have about that is it wouldn't leave too much of a visible stain if you spilled it by accident. But Pepsi's for drinking, not for spilling. Also, Electric Blue Superman. I remember that was a thing in comics, or so I've been told, that some sort of story about Superman where he split into two separate people. Like one was blue, one was red, and they just I don't get it. I thought that was Ultraman's superpower. Yeah, you remember. Japanese kaiju film with Ultraman, the gigantic superhero who could, you know, grow to the size of kaiju monsters and fight them at their own size. And then there's, Ultraman Tiga. Yeah, I know it was dubbed by Fox Kids, and they're not always the best when it comes to being accurate to the source material. But, well, it was a good introduction to the series, I think. Ultraman Tiga, where, Ultraman, he's this giant superhuman superhero with red, white, and blue colorization on his uniform. But if he wants more assault power, he switches his costume over to red instantly, like it's a color change thing. If he needs more speed, he turns blue. He becomes this blue version of himself. And of course, there were like dozens and dozens of spin offs of that concept. I read somewhere in the Guinness Book World Records, Ultraman has the highest number of spin offs for that particular franchise. And I remember there was anime. Supposedly, there's a series on Netflix. I got to check that out sometime. But yeah. Also, there was this one anime where he's like I don't know, I'm not quite sure of the premise, but he like gives his power over to a bunch of anime schoolgirls, and he's like, okay, you have my powers now. Now sort yourself out. And the girls are like, okay, great, we're gonna be superheroes, and because it's a that kind of anime, and they're like, if you take damage, your suit will deteriorate. Wait, what? Yes, get it done quickly before you become indecently exposed. And he's like, what? He's like, all right, girls, bye. And the girls are like, wait, what? And it's like, well, okay, we gotta get this done quickly. She says to the other one, all right. Damn it. Why do I get off topic with these things? If only I had another hand. That's better. Oh boy, oh boy. Alright. Sometimes I envy those Hindu deities with the thousands of arms and such. The extra arms on Vishnu. Ganesha be praised. We have been given a sacred cow. Gee, Phil, that was rather insensitive. You shouldn't talk like that. Ah, come on, people. You know full well that's not the worst thing that's been said on the internet. Mmm. Now that's a new flavor. It certainly does taste different from a regular Pepsi. I would have thought they'd gone with blueberry or something, but no, this is a zesty citrus. Oh, yeah. It certainly does live up to the term electric blue because you see, you know, citrus. I mean, you probably had those experiments in like elementary school and such where you build your own battery, but rather than a battery, you just stick the wires into a piece of lemon, piece of lime, or somehow even a potato, because apparently biological organisms like that and fruits and vegetables have some kind of chemical reaction inside them, something that makes them like a sort of replacement for a battery. It's been a long time since I've messed with the science, but I kind of understand the general idea of it. It's a chemical reaction of some sort where the electrons are moving from one place to another. And much like an electric wire, that has the flow of electrons going through a electric medium, like copper wires, which are conductive. So yeah, citrus does have an association with electricity. It's things like those wires, batteries, things. Do you ever remember this Canadian cartoon called Jacob Tutu? It was a strange name, and it was based on a book. And I'm like, why did you go with your name? Like, to the parents of that child, I must ask, why did you go with that name? Or how do you get that nickname? Because, like, there's bullies in elementary school, right? They're gonna be real rough with him and such. They're gonna tease him, and he's like the youngest kid in their family, so he's got it rough. But the point is, in that cartoon, there was this one bizarre episode where a bunch of bully characters are assigned to be in the same group as Jacob, and they're like, "We want to build an electric battery." And the little kid, he's like, "Well, okay, here's the basic principles of it. We use the potato as a battery, and use the copper wires and electric stuff, and you could even power a clock." And like they just set it up, and like I'm pretty sure Jacob's doing all the work. But the bullies are like, "That's not good enough. We need it to be more powerful. More power to the battery. I say we add extra potatoes to the circuit board and the circuit wires." I'm like, huh? Okay. Are we assembling them in series or in parallel? Because that does have an impact on the effect of the system, as I recall from science class and electric stuff. You're like, this science project is our business. We'll be doing the potato peeling and plucking and whatnot, and they keep putting potatoes with wires, plugging one potato in after another into an electric circuit, and eventually the power to the battery thing, it goes stronger and stronger and stronger until they're basically running a nuclear power plant of their own, just with no purpose other than powering a clock. And they've got this huge ultra high voltage, high high current, I should say, electric wire that's filled to the brim with potatoes as their battery source, because apparently that's how physics works. And they're like, let's make it more powerful, they say. And they keep adding batteries to the, till it's like the what's it called, the Giant Hadron Collider. You've heard of those things, like some sort of bizarre physics experiment where they tried turning lead into gold. It worked for a second, I guess. And like, that's good and all, but that gold is radioactive. We can't use it in our currency. Like, well, we show those alchemists who's boss, because we figured it out and they didn't, says the scientist. But as the episode progresses, Jacob is very distraught because he now notices that this experiment has gone out of hand, and eventually the electric circuit becomes so powerful it has its own electromagnetic pulse signal thing. It generates an electromagnetic field because, there's physics that explains that sort of thing. Learned about that at college, as I recall. Fascinating stuff. Also, pretty sure high school mentioned it as well. You can artificially induce an electric field. Well, basically, that's how electric motors work, and how it's not all electric battery powered that runs your car. You got to get the gas guzzling gas burning motor running. But that requires physical movement in, of the engine. The pumps, the pistons, and such. They got to move from place to place, and they got to, get the fluid inside the cylinder until it's ready to combust and such. And that's physical movement, and they achieve that with, electric energy, batteries. But you can induce an electromagnetic field based on how you assemble the wires together. And that's, well, it's got to be like coiled in a certain direction, as I recall. Once the once the electricity is going through the wire in a certain, the wire is positioned in a cylinder sort of shape, it kind of has this electromagnetic field because it's, radiating out based on the electrons that are moving through it or something or other. Look, it's been a while since I've been at school, but I get the gist of it. And this usage of electricity and such thing, did they even really use electricity in the Frankenstein novel? I mean, it's, lightning to power the monster. That's been in like all the movies and adaptations, but as I recall from reading the book, it wasn't really explicitly stated how the monster was brought to life. Victor Frankenstein building that thing. I love that book. Yeah. So, electricity. The episode, that cartoon, it goes out of hand because there's the electric field, the electromagnetic field at that experiment becomes so powerful, it effectively becomes a third magnetic pole on the planet Earth. And remember, this is in Canada, so it's pretty much a very skewed sort of shape on the globe. And it's causing all sorts of havoc, magnetically pulling things from place to place. And, cartoon logic mixed with sci fi shenanigans and stuff like that. Ugh. I wasn't much of a fan of the show. It's all pretty just generic adventures as far as I'm concerned. Good soda, though. Pepsi Blue. And on the subject of electricity, there was this story written by L. Frank Baum, the writer of Wizard of Oz. As I recall, he wrote up a story called The Electric Key, or The Key to Electricity. No, is The Electric Key, I think. It was basically this bizarre mixture of magic and science, where electricity is treated as this newfangled thing, and it, well, as we'll soon see, it basically treats it as magic. You see, somewhere in America, I guess, there was this little boy whose parents were very lenient and very lax with his usage of electricity, because they would just let this kid have any kind of electric experiments, like with wires and such, and string them all over the house as he pleased. And I'm shocked. Like, parents these days, they put plastic plugs over the outlets so little kids can't go poking at the outlets because that's a safety issue. But this family, they'll just let this kid play with all the wires he wants and string them about the house any way he wants. And coincidentally, one of these positions he put it into was like effectively a summoning circle. Yes, just like magic and alchemy and such. And supposedly real world circuits are shaped like that if you look real close, they claim. I don't get it. And all the circuits, the wires, electric wires strung together in a circle just in the right position, would function as a summoning circle. And he summoned a demon. And this demon, he comes out of the ether and he's like, I want to congratulate you. You are the first human to accomplish this task. I should also inform you that science is kind of bullshit, because it's all just magic and such that we magical creatures just hand over to you. But what about Thomas Edison? He doesn't know shit. Well, what about Nikolai Tesla? He's a smart guy. He knows what to do with electricity. Also, he did not get there first, in spite of his intelligence. But Well, okay. So you're saying I'm the smartest guy around? Not quite. You did get here first, though. Since you won the race to be the first to use the summoning circle to summon the demon, I will now go full on genie on you and grant your wishes. Over a period of time, I will give you all these magical gadgets which are powered by electricity and will show you the wonders they are capable of accomplishing. The little boy's looking at this like, what the fuck? And he's like, behold, these magical goggles. They let you see the innermost qualities of a human being. How do you mean? Well, first of all, it can detect truthfulness and such. What? Like a lie detector? Those haven't been invented yet, young man. You need to pace yourself. But yes, they can detect truthfulness, honesty, wisdom, and stupidity. Wisdom and stupidity are objective things you can test in the universe? Well, yes, or so I claim. You just take these goggles, adjust the settings, take a look at a person, and you will see instantly if they are wise or foolish. You can say that for certain, like objectively? Yes. And you will use these and other fantastic devices in any which way you choose because you're the boss now. You're practically a superhero once we're through with this. Oh, cool, I'm gonna get all kinds of fancy sci fi gadgets. And he does. I think there was some kind of flying machine or levitating device. There was like pills that he could just eat once and he's like full for a whole day or something. I think the universal translators, scrying devices, truth detectors, wisdom detectors, and like a ray gun or something. It's basically this magic demon goes full on genie, just hands out all sorts of sci-fi gadgets to this one kid, and he's like, "Cool, I'm gonna be like a superhero." Only problem is, as he soon discovers, he gets into all sorts of mishaps. Like anytime his fellow Americans catch wind of this, they want to like cheat him out of his stuff and steal his stuff. He goes all over the world, and there's no friends he can find anywhere. He goes to an island full of unflattering depictions of natives, I should say, and all the unga bunga spear throwing shenanigans you can imagine from a story from way back when. It's just how people were back in the day. They didn't know any better not to, but they wrote stories like that. Mm. Yeah, so I mean, okay, not okay. If you thought it was offensive when I pretended to have an Indian accent or something like that, well, now, guys, how are you gonna get away with depicting black people like as cannibals and such? As man, it really was a different time when that was written. And then he like goes to England. He's like, "Cool, the king's a cool guy, but your advisor's like shitty. I know for certain because I've got like the stupidity detector." The king's like, a stupidity detector? What fancy gadget is this? Okay, bye, king. I'm going to France. He's like, I like democracy. I want to help enforce that in the world. And now I'm thinking, okay, you like democracy, but how come the king gets a pass? How come the king of England got a pass, but you want the president of France is? Well, it's okay if they're not democratically elected. I mean, the king is a good guy. He's a nice guy. He's a friend. I'm like, well, you sound like you're being a bit hypocritical, young man, but all right. You're like, okay, how will I help the president of France? I know. I'll use my stupidity detector and dishonesty and bad evil detector to find out any crooked individuals who are among his presidential cabinet. I'm like, okay, pal, whatever, dude. And he uses his goggles of like stupidity detection and such. This really is dumb because none of that makes any sense. Like a device that detects stupidity, and intellect can just be scanned, like, and it's an objective thing whether a person is foolish or wise. And then he keeps going further east, and he's like, "Oh boy, I sure hope I don't run into any troublemakers." He runs into troublemakers. And there's this fight between some kind of Middle Eastern society and the Tatars. Like, I know this takes place a long time ago, like at the turn of the 19th century, but that sounds kind of ancient, anachronistic, even for this era, I should think. Like, the year 1905, I think it was written, or 1902, when they still had cowboys and such, and you say there's like vaguely associated Turco-Mongolic people riding around on horses and drawing swords. Well, I'm not a historian, but all right. And oh man, because he loops all the way around the Earth, keeps going east until he reaches California, and that's when he meets his fellow Americans who want to cheat him out of his toys and such. And like, eventually, he comes to the realization, you know what, genie or demon or whatever you are, I really don't deserve these gifts. They're too much of a burden for me. They're too big of a responsibility. You should hand them over to someone else. And he's like, but I have more gifts for you. Like, no, no, no. This whole thing is weird. Look, you're telling me science is magic and I can just summon demons with circles and such. And, like, I don't know about this. And what was that comment you made before? Well, yes. As I said before, there is no life on Mars, in spite of Nikola Tesla's attempts to contact the Martians with radios. You see, there is no life on Mars. I've been there. I detect any kind of electromagnetic signal, and there's nothing, not even a battery, no organic life forms with nervous systems, nothing. And the guy just looks up there at Mars with disappointment. And I'm thinking, okay, pal, that may be factually accurate, but you're shitting on someone else's fantasy now. Because I rather like that story, John Carter of Mars, and here you are taking a dump on someone else's fantasy. That doesn't seem right. I've read the audio book of that story, and it was weird. It was cool in a way because it was imaginative, but yeah, it was at least trying to be somewhat realistic. Like I think they call it low fantasy, where they take only one or a few magical elements in the world and see how a real world like ours would react to magic and fantastic things happening. And yeah, it's that kind of genre story, but uh, maybe it just simply was made for kids and it wasn't supposed to be taken all that seriously. But and it is pretty old. I'm sure people have come up with better stories than that, but that's all right. Good soda, but I always seem to ramble on about other topics than just describing the taste of whatever drink I'm having, because that's just how these videos go.